Hi folks, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So about a week ago, Andrei Karpathy gave a name to the thing we've all been doing for a while. He called it vibe coding. This is when you just let the AI write all the code for you. Now, I've been using AI code completion for a while with GitHub, Aider, and all that stuff. But here he's talking about a lot more than that. Accept all, don't read the diffs. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and it mostly works. So he's talking about a much more hands-off approach. And at the same time, I'd been seeing PMs like Sahil Lavingia talking about how he drives implementing a feature end-to-end by, as a PM, first collaborating with an AI model to write out a detailed spec, and then using that spec to then have Cursor or GitHub Copilot write the code. And before that, people like Clairvaux, who made ChatPRD, have also been talking about how you just need to have much more full stack expertise. It's not enough to have separate functions for product and software and UX. Using all these AI tools, you need to drive the entire soup to nuts stack. So I wanted to try it. I wanted to see it to believe it, even though I've been doing the Copilot code completion thing for a while. And so I used it on a little side project idea I've been thinking about for a while. And this is for a time tracking app. And this would just look at my screen and using a vision model describe the screen, and then using a language model then classify what work I was doing at the time. Like if it's a browser with YouTube, then it's entertainment. If it's an ID, then it's deep work. If it's something like docs and email, it's maybe light work, something like that. But this blog post or this video is not about the project, it's more about the methodology. So it's something I'm calling spec-driven vibe-coding. I'm basically giving a name to the kinds of things that Sahil and folks like him have been talking about. And it kind of worked. So the basic flow is, first of all, write a spec. So actually there's two specs. First, you prompt the LLM to take your idea and write a full product spec, a PRD for it. And then you give that product spec to maybe a much more advanced model. I used O1 Pro to produce a very detailed engineering design document. This is the kind of thing you'd hand over to a software engineer to just go and implement. And if you have these two specs, turns out more often than not, you can hand these off to a coding agent and kind of just zero shot vibe code the entire product. This was also my excuse to try out the recently announced GitHub Copilot agents. So this is VS Code's attempt to catch up with Cursor. But it pretty much worked. I had to do a few more rounds to write tests and get all the tests to pass. But I didn't have to write any code by hand. Even for the cases where tests were failing, I would just copy paste the stack trace and ask the model to fix the tests, and it would eventually fix the test. So this is the entire point. That's why I wanted to do this on a new project from scratch. So from 3 to 4 bullet points about this time tracking app of mine to a fully running implementation, it was about 2,500 lines of Python code. I did not write any of that code by hand. It's instructive to look at some of the prompts I used. So this is my prompt for creating the PRD, the product spec. I was using Canvas with GPT-4o, and all I said was, help me write a product spec. And I said, this will be given to a software engineer to design and implement, so it should have a lot of detail. And then this is my idea. So I started with these 3 or 4 bullet points. That was it. And this is the resulting product specification. And it's pretty reasonable. I didn't really disagree with anything in here. Then I took that PRD and asked O1 Pro to generate an engineering design doc. this was the prompt. I will give you a product spec, produce a software design document. It should have enough detail that a programmer can implement it without any ambiguity. And I said a bit about what my basic tech stack was. Running in Mac OS, I wanted to be in Python, run as a command line app, so didn't need a GUI. And then I just copy pasted that PRD I just showed you in here. And this is what O1 Pro came up with. This is supposed to be a lock and arrow architecture diagram. It's a bit messed up, but anyway, it breaks down the entire design into modules. So you have a main.py, you have a config manager, you have a scheduler, and so on. And given these two specs, you can just give it to the model to zero-shot vibe code the entire thing. So once again, the basic principle is that instead of asking these software agents to simply write code for some small scope or even a very large thing, instead of doing that, first collaborate with an LLM to write out a detailed PRD and then a detailed design doc. And that really increases your chances of getting good functioning code the first time you give these specs to an agent. So yeah, spec-driven vibe coding. I think it works. It's only going to get better and better. Work with larger and larger code bases, more complex code bases. And I would encourage everyone to think about how they can incorporate this into their regular coding. It's a lot of fun, by the way. You can get into this really tight feedback loop where you're making rapid progress very quickly. I hope you find that helpful. If you like content like this, consider subscribing, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.